So there are a few terms that I'd like to explain in the first way. ECPM, it's effective cost per mile per 1,000. It informs me how much you're getting per 1,000 ad impressions. RDAU, it's revenue per daily active user, so how much you're getting from ads per user in our case. And RPU, average revenue per user, so how much you're getting for a user in a longer time period, typically 30 days. CPI is cost per install, so it's more on the user acquisition side. I'm going to come back to these terms later on. So I wanted to start with a few interesting facts from the industry, just to give you an overview of where we are right now. So currently, 75% of digital ad budget expected for this year is in US is on mobile. So if you compare this to 10 years before, like the proportion was totally different. There's like 75% on web advertising and only 25 on mobile. And well, this changed a lot. The whole budget expected, the whole expected budget is $70 billion just in the US. And the other fact, 45% of top 1,000 earning apps on Google Play have integrated video ads. So currently, advertising is restricted. It's not restricted only to very casual, simple games, but also to games which are monetizing very well, and it's treated as an additional form of revenue. And this trend, it's going to keep on growing. I mean, in 5 years, it's expected that the advertiser spend globally will be more than $200 billion, and especially in Americas and Asia, the growth is going to be the biggest. Where you compare ad formats in different regions, you can clearly see that the two strongest regions are US and East Asia. And when it comes to ad formats, rewarded video is still the strongest format on mobile, but rich interstitials and video interstitials are also on the rise. They're currently at the level of 60% more or less of what we're getting from rewarded videos. Especially playable ads are something right now which is becoming very popular, and you get paid for displaying those ads well too. I wanted now to skip through different ad formats and to talk about some basic rules and some things that we do with ads to have to optimize them. And I'm going to start with rewarded video. It's a format that I already mentioned has the highest ECPM rate, so you're getting the most from per one impression from this ad format. It's a kind of format that everybody seems to like it, both like publishers, advertisers, and users. Users because they got rewarded for watching a video. Advertisers because it's a very effective format, and publishers or app developers because it has very high ECPMs. The only drawback of rewarded video is that the demand can be quite limited because users need to feel that they want to, that they want to display the video. So you can't create you can't force the impressions. So the impression number in some cases might be limited. But on the other way, watching rewarded video increases engagement of the users, and according to last Tapjoy research, players who watched at least one rewarded video have 300% higher 30-day retention rate. So there are more people who watch rewarded videos are more engaged. There are a few rules that or advices that I wanted to talk about. that we're using in our games, and also you can find like a lot of examples like that in other games. Like the first one we want to talk about is native design. You can see there a screenshot from Cut the Rock 2, and there's this big mug filled with coins. If you press on it, you're gonna get a rewarded video, and you will be rewarded with some coins. And it's look very native. It doesn't. I mean, you want to show users that ads are integral part of the gameplay, not just a thing to monetize them. It's not. I mean, in this case, if it's built in a map and it looks like a part of the game, people can feel the immersion, that there's like, it's not just for the developer to make money, it's a part of the game. On the right side, you can see a screenshot from The Cube. It's a game of Voodoo, and it's basically like the first screen that you see after entering the game. And you already have there two ad placements for rewarded video, which if you press them, they give you some time-limited bonus to what you're doing. I mean, in this game, you need to dig into the cube to get some chest. And it's important to adopt the ads early, because I mean, in most of the games, the progression funnel looks like that. Like many users are living the first 5 to 10 minutes, and if you're not going to monetize them, you're not going to make a cent out of them. So you want to be sure to show to display the ads quite early. Also, because early adoption increases user rate. And user rate is the percentage number of users who are unique users who are served at least one a day. And going from 20 to 40% in use rate can significantly increase your advertising revenue per user per day. As you can see here, according to AdColony's research, is 182%. And one of the best way to increase the use rate is to adopt ads early, because there you have a potential to show the ads to a bigger group of users. And it's important to show those ads to unique users. I mean, it's better to show 5 different ads, or 5 ads to 5 different users than 5 ads to 1, because you're getting better eCPMs, and in general your revenue is higher. Some other advices: it's good to have unique rewards. I mean, something that you can't get in any other way. I mean, this can really increase the demand for the goods that you're offering for a video. And it can be lives, or if you have some kind of time gates, or some kind of common chest. As you can see, there's one of Angry Birds game. And it doesn't have to be a very expensive in terms of in-app payments, but if it's unique, users are more likely to click on it. Except very native ad placements, it's very important to have some kind of call to action at events. Here you can see an example from Real Boxing 2. It's a pop-up which occurs on the screen, and it's a moment where users need to decide whether they watch the video or they skip it. And it's, I mean, in this case, you're leaving them with a decision whether to watch the video or not, and they need to decide. It's like they can't miss this place. And besides those native ad placements, having this kind of call to action is also quite important. And for instance, with this banner or pop-up, we were able to get up to 48% click-through ratio. So it's at some countries, especially Asian, 48%. I don't know why. Maybe because they don't want to say no. But the click-through ratio was very, very high, and we received lots of impressions from them, from this pop-up. Yeah, interstitials are simply pop-up ads They've got many different forms right now, from playable ads to video interstitials and static ones. And they have relatively high eCPMs at the range of $6 in the US, according to, at least to Apidil's research. They have a higher impression share, so you're you can display quite a lot of them, and it's up to you where you're gonna display it and when. So you have total control over it. The drawback is that they're not initiated by users. There's no reward for them, and they can have negative impact on your engagement and retention of your users. So you need to really watch out how many of those kind of ads you're displaying, because I mean, in our case at least, there was always a drop. It was the important thing. It was to evaluate what was the level of this drop in like day 1 retention or day 7 retention. And there are a couple of ways how to make interstitials less intrusive. I mean, we first of all A/B test every change in advertising configuration that we make. So whenever we're I don't know, like creating new ad placements or adding new ad networks to the mediation, or changing the frequency of displaying ads, we always A/B test it. The best way to do it is to have a tool which can divide users into test groups, I mean the same group of users, because this can give you like the best, the most accurate results. And there are many tools that can do that. But you can also simply, like test one configuration in some amount of time, then switch it to another and see what's the change. Choosing pause moments to display the ad, this is kind of obvious. I mean, you don't want to display these ads during core gameplay, because that's quite intrusive. And also segmenting players and creating in-apps with turn-off interstitials can help. You can simply segment players into payers and non-payers and show these ads only to non-payers. But you can also like create different segments of players based on their other behavior. We're in real boxing, for example. We're looking for a moment where we knew that people are not likely to. I mean, for a point where we're like almost sure that they're not going to pay anymore. So, for instance, we knew that people in Chapter 2 have like 98% chance that they're not going to pay if they didn't make any in-app payment before. And this was the moment where we were starting to display interstitials. And also one way how to make interstitials less intrusive is to limit the ad types to playable ads and rich interstitials, skippable videos, which are skipped usually after 5 seconds, and static interstitials, because they're quite easy to. I mean, this kind of ad types have better performance, and they're shorter. First of all, it's not 30-second video that just stops you from game. It can affect your eCPM rates, but in some cases it's still worth it. And according to Leadbolt inside their network, like those playable ads have 2 times higher click-through ratio and 4 times higher conversion rate. And it only informs you that this kind of ad type is more appealing to users, or they more engage into it. So it can also reduce the impact of interstitials. Yeah, and some few words about native ads. For me, it's a kind of evolution of banners. So they have like lots of similarities with banners. They're displayed all the time in some specific places. They just don't cover like a part of the screen for they just don't cut the screen in the bottom or something. They're more integrated into game's layout. And they're currently being quite heavily promoted by a couple companies, including AdMob. So they're probably become more popular. The thing is that they have like high impression potential as banners, but the problem is that the integration is quite challenging, both from technical side. You need to, like find some places, test them, and really adjust the ads to the game's layout. And also, I mean, you need to really think where to put them, because it's not that easy. Here you can, on the screenshots, you can see two cases of native ads. On the left side, criminal case game. It's a hidden object game where and there you have some kind of, I don't know, a steampunk iPad with some news from the game. And there's simply some news from the game, information, that some missions that you need to do. And there's also like a big native ad inside where you place whether on the picture or on the button. You're gonna go to App Store, right, to download that app or something. And this one looks pretty cool. I mean, it's looking native. It doesn't spoil user experience in any way. This ad is quite big, and you can understand why it's displayed in this place, because there's some news from the game, yeah, and it's kind of like, even though this game is about like in kind of like 19th century or something, it still makes sense in here. And on the right side, you've got an example from Solitary Tripix, a card game, and there's this kind of sign in the middle of the sea. And there's a call to action button, name of the app, and very, very small picture from the game. And it seems that it doesn't look as well as this placement doesn't look as well as the one on the left side. And I don't think it also have like the same performance. It's simply too small. It seems that they wanted to put some native ads into the game, but ended up with something which probably doesn't perform that well. I wanted to talk a little bit about the metrics that we're using to try to optimize our ad activities or ad monetization system. So our first one is advertising RBDAU, and it's a very essential KPI for us. It informs you in general how well you're doing with the ads. So it means how much money you're getting per user from ads. And there are, I mean, we're tracking this on a daily basis, and this, I mean, there are many things that can affect the advertising RBDAU. It can be like the campaigns of the advertisers, or some technical problems, or changes in the ad configuration, and so on. So if you see a rise or a drop in it, you should try to understand it. But in general, like, you want to track this every day to see if everything is correct, or if your changes that you make to the ad configuration are bringing positive results. Here you can see a chart with from Realboxing 2. And we started to optimize the game in March 2017. I mean, more than we did before, and it seemed that everything is going up. Then there were holidays, and during this season, always the eCPMs are the lowest in the year, so there was quite a big drop in there. But after that, it went up once again. We're still doing some optimization, and we're able to raise the money per day that we're making from our users from around 1 cent to 3 cents. The next metric I wanted to talk about is ad RPU, and it's basically similar to the previous one, but it tells you how much you're getting per user in a longer time period. And it's very important to track it where you're doing paid user acquisition. And there are many companies who are using those like UI tracking tools, but mostly from in-app payments, and they don't track the revenue that they're making from the ads. And it's important to do this because this gives you an information how much you're getting, especially if you're displaying lots of ads, right? You want to know how much you're getting per user from ads as well. I mean, this can be a significant number. I know companies that are making over 50 cents from of our RPU just from ads. So it can be really a significant number. And one of the ways how to do this is to create some events tracking ad views of rewarded videos and interstitials or banners, and inside your ad tracking tool, because then you can have an information about the cohort of users that you buy, of how much did they, how many impressions of rewarded videos or interstitials did they get. And you can see here on this chart that we have their organic users and users who come from Facebook ads, and users who are coming from Facebook ads on day 14. I don't have like the day 30. I mean, I guess it was quite a recent campaign. So on like day 14, on average, they're watching for 5.13 rewarded videos. And if you let's say like you're acquiring users from US, and if you have like $50 per eCPM on a rewarded video in US, you can make an easy calculation that from one user coming from Facebook, you get 7.7 cents. And this you add to your overall RPU coming from in-app payments, and it gives you an overview of how much you're getting per user in general. And I wanted to talk about a technique that some companies are using to significantly increase the money that they're making from ads, and I call it video stacking. By that I mean watching multiple videos in a short period of time. I mean basically one after another. And this is something like in the past all ad networks advised to create some frequency caps, like I don't know, 5 ads per day or per session, in order to keep the eCPM on a high level. But nowadays, there's like, if you're using Mediation, you can basically have like an unlimited number of ads. So I mean, there's like, it's never gonna end. If you're gonna display one ad from one network, then you're gonna display ad from another one or another developer. Like you can really increase the frequency cap on the ads that you're showing, and there are many companies who are taking advantage out of that. So on the left side, you can see a screen from Homescapes, and it's a pop-up that you're getting after watching a rewarded video already. So in the first pop-up before that, it was like informing you that you can get some reward after watching a video, and after you watch it, you get another one, which informs you if you want like even higher reward, you can get it by watching another one. So basically, you watch one video after another. And on the right side, you've got quite hardcore example. I mean, to get the skin of this little duck, you need to watch 20 videos, and you can do this in a row. So it basically can take you like 10 minutes, at least, like if there are 30 seconds ads. It's a kind of hardware example. This is a game called Little Wizard Sally. It's a game by line. Well, it seems quite hardcore, but these guys, I know that they're very good at monetizing users through ads. So possibly it works, mostly focused at the Asian markets, so maybe in there that this amount is enough, but you can't get this skin in other way, you can't buy it. Here's a case study from our game of ads with like video stacking. The game is called Highway Getaway, and it's an endless racer. So basically, you control the car and try to avoid other cars till the moment that you hit something. And initially, we had just one revive for a rewarded video. We were allowing players to have another life after watching one video, but we wanted to check also like how it's going to work with 2 revives. So after failing for the first time, we were displaying a video, and after second fail, we also asked them if they want to watch a video to get back to the game. And it occurred that like displaying 2 videos had only positive results. I mean, not only we increased our ad impression number by 17%, so were getting more money from ads, but also like the session length was increased, and it had like overall very positive feedback, very impact on the game performance. Yeah, I wanted to say a few things about networks and tools. So basically, I mean, right now, everyone I know, or all developers that I know, or at least most of them, are using ad mediation, and it seems to be like the best thing right now to monetize your users. I mean, best tool to do this, even though it has some drawbacks. And yeah, I mean, it allows you to access multiple networks and in theory get the best offers, but it not always, it doesn't work ideal as well. But it's I guess it's a topic for another presentation. The important thing is while you're using mediation to choose ad networks that are adjusted to top geos and platforms. And the best way to learn what works best, because if you're gonna go to like those ad networks, they all gonna claim that they're the best. Yeah, it's very hard to make a decision which network to choose because they're all claiming that they're doing great. Yes, and it's not always the case. So the best way how to learn which networks work is to ask other fellow developers and also the mediation operators. They're not, I mean, not all of them are that open about that, but you can get this information from them. And also from other developers. I know, like for instance, in our case, like Tapjoy works very good on rewarded video in Asia, right? And this is something that we're not afraid to share this kind of knowledge, and I don't think that there are many other developers who are. The other way how to increase the performance of like your tools or cooperation with networks are direct deals with them. So in the moment when you reach a certain level of ad impressions, you can reach out to networks and ask if you can do something special with them. And most of the networks are really willing to do those kind of deals, except like AdMob or Facebook, maybe. But most of other networks are open to do this. Usually what they're asking for is the first place in the mediation, just to get like the first impression, or just one or multiple impressions in the first way. These deals can be global or per geo, and there are like few types of those kind of deals. They can be fixed eCPM. So for example, they can offer you like $20 on rewarded video in US for 2 weeks, and you will get like, based on the number of impressions, you will have like fixed number that you're getting for that. It can be higher revenue share. And it can be bonus to earnings, usually with tiers. So if, for example, you get like 10% bonus to what you earn in a month, if you reach like 30 million impression, but if you get like from, I don't know, like 30 to 50, you're getting 12%, and then you're getting 15%. And also it can be fixed bonus, so they tell you, I don't know, that you're getting like $50,000 for if they put the network in the first place in the mediation. So from our experience, the deal that worked best for us are bonus to earnings. If you get like a percentage bonus to what you're currently earning, at least in our case, it works best. We're able to get really high results, and it was kind of win-win situation, because for them, I mean, we're trying to get as many impressions to them as possible, so they were earning quite a lot, and we as well, because we knew that in the end there's going to be also this bonus to money that we're making. Yeah, and even if you don't get a deal, and you also want to change the position of the networks quite frequently, because most of the networks need volume to start to perform. I mean, if you're using mediation, especially when you're using mediation, which is also ad network, which which has their own inventory to display. So you want to be sure that there are like all your networks were in the best possible way, and if there's like one network which is in the top position and is taking most of the impressions, leaving like very little to the others, it's very hard for other networks to get to the place where they can offer competitive bids for eCPMs. And that's why you want to change manually the position of the networks from time to time, even if you don't have a deal. And here's an example from real boxing. We've started, one network was underperforming with $4 eCPMs. We've made a deal with an ad network for 2 weeks. I guess it was like bonus in cash or something. We're able to raise this eCPM level to more than $4. But what's more important, this was short term, right? It was just 2 weeks. But what's more important, after we finished this action, this eCPM level came back to $6.75. So it was like more than 50% higher than before. And this network started to bring results, and it stayed that for a long time. So you need to be sure that that all the networks have, or at least had in the past, like enough number of impressions for you to evaluate how really they can perform. Yeah, and I guess that's it. Thank you for your attention. You can see here my email, so if you want some direct consulting or have some questions, or would like to ask anything connecting at monetization, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm trying to always like share the knowledge about it, and I will be happy to help. And well, if you have any questions, you can ask me now.
Hi, what do you think about like mixing the rewarded video tactic with the interstitials? Because I've met it sometimes in some games, and for me it was annoying. It was too much, but I don't know if it's really worth it or not.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is to find this balance. I mean, you can earn quite a lot on interstitials. So in some other games, it's like 60% of the ad revenue that we're making comes from interstitials, and they are intrusive, and users don't like them. But it's good to create those A/B tests that I've mentioned before, and to check what's the damage. Yeah, because the damage probably will be there. But for I don't know, like there's like 0.5% decrease in day one retention. In most of our games, this is acceptable, yes, or 1% decrease. At least we know that, for example, we're not getting that much money from in-app payments, right? But if you're able to test it before, then you can then you know what's the damage on users and how much you can get for that. But I mean, from interstitials, you can get quite a lot, because you can display like it like every after every gameplay session, or even before the game starts, and you have like the total control over the moment when it is displayed. And we have some games which are quite heavy with ads, and we have complaints of users about them, and sometimes some bad reviews. Yeah, but we always need to find we want to find a balance between the revenue that we're making and the damage that the interstitials cause. And also we're always give the opportunity to turn off the ads through in-app payment. Yeah, whether it's like each in-app payment closes the ads or just one, but there's always such a opportunity. Such opportunity.
But I was more focused on the like mixing the interstitials with rewarded videos, because I'm wondering if it's a good tactic, because then I think you do not have the option of turning the ads off, because you would turn off the rewards as well.
No, this is what we turn off, only interstitials. We always, by turning off ads, we always meaning interstitials. This might be confusing for players sometimes, but I guess like most of the other developers do the same. So if you turn off interstitials, like ads, you've got this like in-app which turn off ads. They turn off banners and interstitials, not rewarded.
Okay, so you do also mix the two.
Yeah, we're mixing it in all our games.
To continue on the subject, did you ever, have you ever seen a solution that would combine those interstitials with rewarded videos, but not forcing players to actually pay to remove interstitials, but enabling players to turn on interstitials, let's say for 1 week, and then get a bonus of some kind for that 1 week, like a weekly boost for coins or whatever?
I haven't seen something like that, but I've seen something different. I've seen, for example, at placements where you watch rewarded video to turn off interstitials for some time. So it's like you're watching a video and then for like half hour or 1 hour you turn off the interstitials and you don't see them. And this sounds like a fair trade, right? Because you've got like you watch a video and you don't display those interstitials, but the thing is, in general, like it depends on the game, right? If you have like good in-app payment monetization, you probably wouldn't like to display that many interstitials, right? But if you have a game which is mostly monetized through ads, you want to display these interstitials, right? Because then you're making money. But I've seen something like that. I guess it was like the example on my one of the slides was an Angry Birds game, and it was in there as well.
Hi. When using mediation, in terms of setting the CPMs of each network, do you manually set them and update them once a week or every day? Or do you use like a feature like auto CPM?
We're using auto optimization, but for example, in AdMob, you can't simply put network in the first position. The way to do this, you put like $100 in CPM, very high bid, on one of the networks, and then you're sure that it's gonna like it's going to be in the first position. It's some like mediation tools like Fiber. You can manually just switch like secure first impression for a certain network. But with some, like in AdMob, you need to put a very high bid. And with other networks, we typically are using auto optimization because it also works very well. So if we don't have a deal or not testing anything, or like we don't want to change the position of the networks for some reason, we're on the optimized level, and it works also pretty well. I mean, AdMob itself, it's a very strong network, so they can bring very good results, and even if other networks get less impressions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the talk.
Hi.
Many developers don't allow watching more than 8 ads a day. Do you know why?
Yeah, this is the thing I've mentioned before. Like, there are different numbers that people say that when it comes to overall number of ads that you shouldn't show. So in the past, it was like usually those networks said like you don't want to display 5 videos to one player in a session or in a day. Because then the CPM gonna drop and you're gonna get less money. But it's not the case anymore. I mean, with mediation and so much inventory, you basically can serve like, I don't know, 20 ads one after another, and they can be like 20 different ads. So it's really really up to you. I mean, there is some point where it's not worth it anymore to show those ads, but in our games we have this approach, at least when it comes to rewarded videos, that we're giving them, if players want to watch it, we're giving them this opportunity, and basically, I don't know, like up to 20 videos per day. And there are some users who watch 20 videos per day.
I'm asking because you said you mentioned this double rewarded video. So it performed still better than, okay. And the second question, have you ever experimented with rewarded interstitials? Like
I'm not sure.
Static ads, not video ads.
Static interstitials?
Yeah. Static, no, that's just like a picture, not rewarded video ad.
Yeah, I don't think it's like advertisers like it. So I haven't seen that much inventory when it comes to that. I'm pretty sure like videos work on like the user acquisition side. Videos perform better in most cases than static images. Yeah. So advertisers tend to like more videos because they have better conversions, and that's why you're getting also higher eCPMs. Yeah. And videos are now like the best format when it comes to eCPM. So I'm not sure if this would bring you the results that would be interesting for you.
I have a question about A/B testing. You said every change with monetization you are A/B testing.
Yes.
What's the tool that you are using?
We're currently using Swerve as a BI tool, not only for A/B test, but also for analytics. And Swerve has a feature to perform those kind of tests. They're quite. You can do quite a lot with that. I mean, you can create like many different cohort groups, not only one. Test like, I don't know, maybe even 10 different ad configurations at one point and track whatever you want. So, but there are also some other tools for that. Swerve is quite big tool for not only for A/B testing, but if you simply just Google it, you can find some A/B tools which are simply A/B tools, A/B testing tools.
Okay, thanks.
Hey. So it's usually the case that your games are targeted towards some specific audience, right? So the other developers would like their ads to be displayed for those certain group of people, right? So it might cause people to leave your game and go to their game. So what's your action to prevent those type of behaviors?
We don't do nothing about this. It's like it's it's a general like a question, because if you're displaying ads, you need to have in mind that some people probably will leave your app and not gonna come back, right?
Right.
We're not doing much with that because I mean I did some tests in the past. For example, we're blocking sports games in real boxing. Yes, it occurred that we're getting best beats for sports games, because it's simply like this ad algorithms are showing the ads that are like the most appealing for our audience. Yes, right. So ad networks want to display in your game ads that will be interesting for this group. Yes.
Yeah, that's the case.
And I mean, if you like want to stop it or block it somehow, this can significantly affect your eCPM rates. And
right.
Yeah. No problem. Okay, I don't see any questions right now, so thank you guys once again. Feel free to reach me. And have safe back home. Thank you.